My husband's office party took an unexpected twist. I wasn't prepared for this. I thought it would be just another office party. Drinks, small talk, forced laughter. I never imagined it would be the beginning of something that would rattle my marriage to its core. She wasn't supposed to matter. Just a coworker. Just another name Ben had mentioned in passing. But the way she looked at him, the way she looked at me, God, I should have known. I should have trusted my gut that night. One message, one photo, and suddenly, I was questioning everything. How close is too close? And when someone smiles at your husband like that, what do you do? An easygoing office party to relax and celebrate after a year of dedication. Ben, my husband, had been eagerly anticipating it for weeks. He kept bringing it up, claiming it would be a fantastic opportunity to reconnect with his colleagues and unwind without the usual work pressure. I wasn't really thrilled, to be honest. Office parties often felt a bit too cheerful, almost like it was put on. Those who hardly spoke to you all week suddenly turned into the center of attention at the party. Ben's enthusiasm convinced me it was worth the trip. Just to back him up, the party took place at a stylish venue, featuring dim lighting, soft jazz in the background, and tables overflowing with elegantly presented appetizers. There were a few people I recognized, but most were Ben's coworkers, many of whom I had only met a couple of times. I quietly stood beside him, chatting with others, aiming to remain in the background. That's when I saw her. Tessa was her name, and I had heard Ben bring her up a few times. In her late 30s, she stood tall with long dark hair, exuding a presence that was impossible to overlook. She was the kind of woman who effortlessly captured attention. Honestly, I noticed she was a bit too close to Ben, laughing too loudly at his jokes and touching his arm a bit too often during their conversations. For some reason, it just didn't feel right to me. It was later in the evening that everything clicked for me. As the night continued, I slipped away to a quiet corner, sipping my wine and observing the crowd. It was calm there, allowing me to momentarily escape the lively energy of the party. Just as I started to unwind, I sensed someone next to me. I turned to see Tessa, drink in hand, smiling at me warmly. "Anna," she said, her voice flowing effortlessly. "I hope you're having a great time." Her smile seemed almost too perfect, too rehearsed. It seemed like she was just playing a role, but I kept quiet. I gave a friendly smile back. "I'm doing fine," I said, keeping it casual. "It's a great spot. The food is great." She laughed quietly, her gaze drifting to Ben, who was across the room, engrossed in a chat with his colleagues. "Isn't Ben amazing?" Tessa stated. "Talking to him is always a breeze. It's clear why everyone at work admires him." I nodded, working to hide my discomfort. "Absolutely, he's an awesome guy. We've been together for ages." Tessa's gaze stayed on Ben for a brief moment before she shifted her attention back to me. "You both are an amazing pair. He's fortunate to have you." She lowered her voice, as if revealing a secret. "Anna, you have such grace. Ben is truly a good man." Sometimes we all crave a bit of excitement, right? There it was, the tension in her words, hinting that something deeper was at play. My heart raced. What was her point? Just as I was about to reply, Tessa's phone rang. She quickly excused herself to take the call. As she walked away, a knot twisted in my stomach. The air grew thick and heavy, and my mind raced with all the possibilities of her meaning. I set it aside. It was likely just a minor issue. She was simply being friendly. I struggled to concentrate for the rest of the evening, but thoughts of Tessa and Ben kept creeping in. How she talked to him, how she gazed at him, felt like she noticed something I missed. I brushed off the feeling and set out to find Ben. He was chatting with a few colleagues when I walked over, but as soon as he spotted me, his face brightened with that warm smile I know so well. It always gave me a sense of safety, as if everything in the world was perfectly in place. Tonight, however, something felt different. I felt relieved as the evening began to wind down, with people saying their goodbyes and gradually heading for the exits. Ben and I walked to the car, feeling tired yet upbeat. As we drove out of the parking lot, I looked at him, trying to understand his expression. "How was the party?" I inquired, maintaining a cheerful tone. "It was good," he said, hands on the steering wheel, his voice calm. "Talking to Tessa was a blast. Don't you think she has a ton of energy?" I smiled, but it seemed more like a habit than true joy. Absolutely, she's remarkable. Ben laughed, unaware of the tension in my voice. I believe she has feelings for you, Anna, he said. She called you classy. My stomach knotted up. Did she really? I inquired, maintaining a calm tone. Absolutely, she's really great, Ben mentioned. Finding someone so laid back in the office is a true rarity. She has a unique ability to put people at ease. The words lingered, and I understood that I might not be the only one aware of Tessa's gaze. The night left me feeling unsettled, as if I were on the brink of something unknown. What was happening with Tessa and Ben? Was there something deeper that I was missing? After the office party, the days flew by as Ben and I settled back into our regular routine. He'd head to work while I took care of everything at home. Yet, something within me had changed. Tessa was always on my mind. Whenever I saw Ben laughing or chatting with someone, I couldn't help but wonder if she was part of it. I attempted to push the thoughts aside, convincing myself that I was merely being paranoid. Yet, uncertainty remained. A week later, everything reached a breaking point. I was chatting with my sister, catching up on life like we always do. As I walked through the kitchen, I noticed Ben's phone buzzing on the counter. A glowing screen displays a message preview from an unfamiliar number. I couldn't help but be curious. I approached and looked at the screen. Tessa sent the message. Hey Ben, I hope this isn't too direct, but I really liked our chat the other night. Let's reconnect soon. Only the two of us. I stood still. I gasped for air. The words seemed harmless, yet an unmistakable tension quickened my heartbeat. What was happening? What was her reason for reaching out to Ben like that? Why wasn't it done as a group or in a more relaxed way? My thoughts began to whirl. I couldn't shake the thought. Was she trying to get closer to him? What about her behavior at the party? Was I just overanalyzing? Or had she really been flirting with him the whole time? I paused for a moment, working to calm my nerves. I realized it was time to face Ben. I wasn't sure how to approach it without making it seem like I was blaming him for something he didn't do. I had no intention of starting a fight. I couldn't shake off the uneasy feeling in my stomach. I took a deep breath, grabbed his phone, and read the message again. I quickly replied to Tessa from his phone, hoping to buy myself some time. Hi Tessa, I appreciate your message. Ben's swamped with work, but I'll make sure to pass along your message. I hope you're doing great. I pressed send and set the phone down, right as Ben entered the kitchen. He looked at me, his face gentle and unaware. Hey, are you all right? He inquired, his tone warm and slightly inquisitive. I forced a smile, aiming to seem casual. Just taking a quick look at your phone. All is well. He nodded, his eyebrow arching in curiosity. Are you certain? You seem a bit uncertain. I paused. This was the moment. I faced a choice. Confront him or hide my feelings and act like everything was fine. I noticed Tessa's message and replied, my voice softer than I meant it to be. She mentioned she wants to reconnect with you. Ben appeared briefly puzzled. What are you trying to say? Did she send me a message? Yes, I answered, working to keep my voice calm. It was a simple invite, yet it felt like there was something more to it. A long silence hung in the air. I noticed Ben deep in thought, his mind working through my words. He sighed, walked over, and took my hands gently. Anna, I didn't know you were feeling like this, he said, his voice gentle yet sincere. Tessa and I are only friends, I assure you. She can be a bit bold at times, but we're just friends. I had no idea it was bothering you. I looked at him for a moment, trying to understand his expression. Was he for real, or was this merely a rehearsed excuse? So why didn't you share the message with me? I asked, making an effort not to sound accusatory, though I stumbled a bit. Ben confessed he didn't see it as a big deal. She's always been a bit more social than the others in the office. I wanted to be clear that I wasn't hiding anything from you. After seeing your reaction, I understood that I needed to be more direct about it. I really wanted to trust him. I truly did. Yet, a part of me remained uneasy, sensing that something was off. I just want to be seen and included, I admitted, my voice tinged with vulnerability. It seems she's making an effort to connect with you. Ben, I'm unsure about her true intentions. Ben held my hands softly, his gaze unwavering on me. Anna, "There's no need to worry about Tessa," he said. "You're the only one that matters to me." Even though I wanted to trust him, a part of me knew this wasn't finished. Ben held my hands tightly, his eyes warming with tenderness. "Anna, I adore you. I just want to be with you. Tessa is merely a colleague, and I truly didn't see it as a significant issue. If it's bothering you, I've got it covered. I'll let her know that we're just friends." I watched him closely, searching for any hint of dishonesty. All I saw was the man I married, the man I once knew. My doubts started to fade, and I nodded slowly. "All right," I replied softly, uncertain yet ready to place my trust in him. "I really don't want to feel like I'm losing you." Ben grinned and wrapped me in a warm hug. "I'm not going anywhere, Anna. I'm here to stay." Yet, a part of me couldn't shake the feeling that Tessa's motives ran deeper than what Ben or I understood. The message was clear, but what would happen next? The following days felt oddly peaceful. Ben worked hard to keep me updated, informing me whenever Tessa or anyone else from the office contacted him. It was helpful, yet that uneasy feeling lingered. I couldn't stop replaying that night at the office party in my mind. Tessa's gaze on Ben. She lingered just a bit longer than needed. I had a nagging sense that something was slipping past me. Then the true challenge arrived. Friday evening arrived, and Ben and I were set for a cozy night in. Only the two of us. While I was getting dinner ready, his phone buzzed once more. I looked over, my heart racing as Tessa's name lit up the screen. This time, it was more than just a casual message. It was an image. Ben's phone sat on the counter, and I couldn't resist the urge to take a peek. I approached and grabbed it, unable to shake off the nagging feeling of doubt. Tessa's photo was captured at a cafe. She wore a big smile, radiating joy and freedom. However, that wasn't what drew me in. The message that came with the photo really caught my attention. I just had a coffee, and it brought back memories of that night at the party. I'd love to do it again, perhaps without the crowds next time. A chill swept over me. I instinctively wanted to drop the phone. I just couldn't do it. The message had an unsettling undertone that knotted my stomach. I really wasn't imagining it. She was ready to take action. I paused, took a breath, and set the phone down just before Ben entered. I was unsure how to reach out to him. Would he view it like I did? Was I overreacting once more? As Ben entered from the living room, I remained by the counter, working to gather my thoughts. He glanced at me, and in that instant, I realized, the moment I saw his expression, that something had changed. "Is everything all right?" he asked, his voice laced with concern as he sensed the tension in the room. I nodded, but it lacked conviction. My chest tightened. I noticed Tessa's message and replied, trying to keep my voice steady. Ben's face changed briefly. He let out a sigh. "Anna, Ben," I cut in, my voice shaking a bit. "These messages are more than just friendly, right?" I noticed her message, and it was more than just casual. "She's making an effort to connect with you." Ben moved in, his brow furrowing deeply. "Anna, I promise she's only a coworker. Nothing is going on. You're overthinking this." Yet the words seemed empty. His eyes showed clear frustration. I couldn't tell if the frustration was directed at me or the situation itself. "Ben, this isn't just a message anymore," I said, my voice low but resolute. "It's how she behaves when she's with you. Her way of reaching out. I see clearly. It seems she's crossing lines, and I can't overlook it any longer." He paused in silence for a while. The silence in the room was overwhelming. At last, Ben exhaled deeply and massaged his forehead. He admitted, "I know I haven't been great at being open with you. I brushed it off since she's always been a bit bold. I can see how much this is affecting you, and I want to make it right. I assure you, I'll have a conversation with her. Clearly state that it's not acceptable." A part of me wanted to trust him. Yet, a different part of me, the one that had witnessed Tessa's subtle moves up close, felt uncertain. "I need you to be honest with me, Ben," I said, feeling the heaviness of my emotions. "I refuse to be made a fool of." "I'm not trying to deceive you, Anna," he said, his voice now gentler. The anger had vanished. "What about the doubt?" It remained. "I don't want to lose you because of this," Ben said, his voice steady and resolute. "I'll have a chat with Tessa to clarify her role. You're the one who matters most to me." I gazed into his eyes, hoping to find reassurance, sincerity, or anything at all. In that fleeting moment, I discovered it. I could see the man I married, the one who vowed to be loyal to me. Yet, despite witnessing that, a part of me remained unsure. Can I really trust him? Or was there something deeper going on? The rest of the evening was quiet, yet the tension between us lingered. I could see Ben was making an effort, but my thoughts kept drifting back to Tessa's message. What was its significance? How far was she ready to venture? The next morning, after breakfast, Ben headed off to work, sticking to his usual routine. As he stepped out the door, a strange unease washed over me. I found myself questioning whether I had overlooked something, if there was more to this than I understood. I chose to take control of the situation. I refused to just sit back and wait for answers. I had to find out what was happening with Tessa, and I wanted to hear it straight from her. The following days were filled with tension, but I understood I needed to take charge of the situation. I had to stop letting doubt consume me. I had to speak with Tessa directly, set things straight, and face her boldly. I wasn't certain how to tackle it, but a strong feeling inside me said it was the right choice. When Ben headed off to work on Monday, I had already made my decision. I needed to talk to Tessa. I had to find a way to ease the unease that had settled in my heart. I contacted her. My message was clear and straightforward. "Hey Tessa, can we chat for a bit? I've been feeling uneasy about how things have been between us recently. Are you up for a meetup?" Her reply was almost immediate, and I could feel her eagerness to meet. She said yes to meeting me at a nearby cafe, a simple, quiet spot for a real conversation. Nervousness hit me as I got dressed and got ready to go. I knew this wouldn't be simple, but I had to push through for my marriage. I found Tessa at the cafe, sitting at a table by the window. She appeared at ease, enjoying her coffee while browsing her phone. She looked calm, but when she saw me, she set her phone aside and offered a polite smile, a smile that fell short of her eyes. "Hi, Anna," she said, her tone bright and playful. "I wasn't certain you would make it." I took a seat in front of her, working to calm my nerves. "I wasn't certain either," I said, meeting her gaze directly. "I really need to discuss everything with you." Her smile dimmed a bit as she leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. "I don't quite understand," she said, tilting her head. "Is this concerning Ben?" "Yes, it's about Ben," I said, my voice firm yet heavy with all that had been weighing on me. "I'm not sure what's happening between you two, but your attempts to connect with him feel off to me." She arched an eyebrow but stayed silent. I inhaled deeply and pressed on, a sense of urgency driving me forward. "I realize we haven't spoken much, but I can't overlook the messages. Your attempts to get closer to him seem off." Tessa's eyes softened slightly, yet a spark of something lingered behind them, something I couldn't identify. "I understand," she said softly. "I never intended to make you feel uncomfortable." I was momentarily caught off guard. I thought she would be defensive, deny it, or brush off my feelings, but surprisingly, she appeared almost apologetic. "So why did you message him after the party?" I pushed, my heart pounding. "You mentioned wanting to meet up, just the two of you." Felt anything but casual. Tessa glanced at her coffee briefly before locking eyes with me again, this time filled with genuine sincerity. "I won't sugarcoat it, Anna," she started, her voice now gentle. "I really enjoyed my conversation with Ben at the party. He's caring and attentive, but I never planned to disrupt your marriage." She took a moment, selecting her words with care. "I admire your relationship and can see the love you share." She let out a sigh. I should have realized that crossing the lines was a mistake. I leaned back in my chair, absorbing the impact of her words. Part of me wanted to be mad, but another part felt a sense of relief. She was honest with me, which took me by surprise. "I never intended to create any problems," she went on. "I never wanted to cause any doubt between you and Ben. I sincerely apologize if I've overstepped any boundaries." She paused. "Sometimes it's easy to overlook that those in happy marriages are not available." Her voice had softened, filled with regret. Was it real or just another well-made deception? I apologize for not honoring that. Tessa's voice was soft, and for the first time, it felt real. I paused, taking in her words. I was caught off guard by the confession, and I didn't know how to respond. Tessa wasn't the villain I had imagined her to be. She had no intention of taking Ben from me. She had gotten a bit too wrapped up in the attention he showed her. Part of me got that. Part of me had witnessed it before. Thanks for your honesty, I finally said, my voice softer than before. Thank you, and I apologize for making assumptions too quickly. Tessa offered me a brief smile. I get it, she said. It's instinctive to guard what belongs to you. Ben is a great guy. He's fortunate to have someone like you. I nodded, feeling a burden ease from my chest. Yet, a feeling of unease remained. It was no longer about Tessa. It was all about me and Ben. We had to work on rebuilding our trust. It was going to be a challenge, yet it was achievable. Leaving the cafe, a surprising clarity washed over me. I had no idea what the future would bring. I realized I had to trust Ben. If I didn't, I'd be stuck and unable to progress. Talking to Tessa made a difference. Now it was time to concentrate on my marriage. Let's concentrate on ourselves. When I arrived home that evening, Ben was already waiting for me on the couch. He glanced up as I entered, his expression a mix of caution and hope. How did it turn out? He asked softly. I took a seat next to him and inhaled deeply. We had a conversation, I mentioned. She was straightforward with me. I took a moment, allowing my words to sink in. There's absolutely nothing between you two, Ben. I need to have more trust in you. I need you to share more with me. Ben nodded, relief washing over his face. I can handle that, he said. I promise to improve. He took my hand, his grip strong and unwavering. I don't want to let you go over something minor. I smiled, a warm feeling blossoming in my chest. I don't want to let you go either. We paused in silence for a moment, the heaviness of our unspoken words. This time it felt unique. We were both ready to move on, leave the past behind, and rebuild what we once had. It may be tough, but the reward will be great. Maybe the biggest threat to a marriage isn't betrayal. It's silence. It's those quiet doubts we keep inside, hoping they'll fade, but they never do. What Tessa stirred in me wasn't just jealousy. It was fear. Fear that I was slipping away. Fear that I wasn't enough. But when I finally faced her, really faced her, I realized this wasn't about her. It was about us, me and Ben, what we choose to fight for, and what we choose to ignore. Maybe trust isn't something that's either whole or broken. Maybe it's something we build again, piece by fragile piece. Have you ever doubted someone you love without real proof? Or maybe you were the one being doubted. Share your story with us. Let's talk. Let's connect. Let's heal together. And if the story moved you, like, subscribe, and follow us for more true stories that cut deep. Because this was a true infidelity story.